ride show. Man, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah, you know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Man, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah, you know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Man, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin', yeah. Yeah, you know that we bustin', yeah. We the topic discussion, yeah. It's a crazy ride show. Hold up, you know that we bustin'.
All righty, then we are back as Lake County Unfiltered as we do every Wednesday, every Monday, but we got a special event tonight. I got to do an introduction. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. We have an exclusive interview with the renowned civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who is representing the family in the Vista case, in the tragic case involving Vista. Attorney Crump has been on the forefront of some of the most high-profile cases in the fight for justice, including those of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and Tyree Nichols. His work has shined a national spotlight on racial injustice, police brutality, and systematic failures that impact marginalized communities. Tonight, he has joined us to discuss the details of this case and the legal battle ahead and what justice looks like for this family. Attorney Crump, thank you for joining us, brother.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Carlos. And thank you for being a voice for so many in our community who feel they have no voice.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. This case is it's an interesting case, man. When I got wind of it, it kind of pushed me back in my seat when I heard exactly what happened. So this interview is definitely important to the community because we definitely want to give more details on what's happening. Can you share with us what led to you actually taking on this case to represent this family?
Certainly. Carlos, my personal hero, Thurgood Marshall, when he was over the NAACP Legal Defense Fund in the 50s, in the 60s, they would get thousands of cases from all across America, people calling them with injustices, lynchings. And so, like we get thousands of cases today from all across America for our people facing injustices. Mm-hmm. So obviously you can't take them all. And what Justice Marshall said, they would be intentional about the cases they accepted. They wanted the cases that would have the greatest impact on the larger society. Mm-hmm. So by handling that case, it would have an impact on the other cases that they could not get to. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I always consider is, does the case shock my conscience? Mm. Like George Floyd, it shocked my conscience when I saw the video of his knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. Mm. And every time I see that video, even to this day, in my heart of hearts, I still keep thinking certainly they're going to take the knee off the neck, because anybody who had an ounce of humanity, that's what they would do.
Yes, sir.
And yet they never did. Breonna Taylor, another one that shocked my conscience, mutilating her body with 8 bullet holes by executing a no-knock warrant at 1 o'clock in the morning. Mm. And just the fact that if our people, our daughters can't be safe in the sanctity of their own home, where can they be safe at? Mm. So like those cases, Carlos, when the family called our office in regards to this tragedy, it shocked my conscience because I could not believe that a young woman froze to death in her hospital gown on the hospital roof. I just thought that, hold on, were they not checking for her? Like, why didn't they go give her some assistance? She wasn't supposed to die on that roof.
Right.
And so that's why we're here, and that's why we're fighting for justice for the Adolphus family, and to make sure that Chelsea isn't swept under the rug.
Absolutely. It's a lot of things that are being said about what actually happened, and I'm not sure if you could speak on what happened in the actual incident of her being unfortunately led to being on the roof. But what other key facts could you give us about the case that we might not know in the community right here that you could tell us?
Certainly, Carlos, certainly. And we're in non-active litigation, so I have to be somewhat measured.
Yeah.
But I will say this, we filed a wrongful lawsuit with my great co-counsels, Brad Pollock, Jerry Beckerman, Natalie Jackson, Paul Beasley, Laura Mullins, a wrongful death lawsuit based on negligence, premise liability, and medical malpractice, because Chelsea was admitted to the hospital to receive medical care. And obviously they failed her. I mean, how does she leave the hospital and they don't capture on this video surveillance that we know they have, and she goes out on the roof on the second floor and they don't go try to, get her and give her care, and they just let her stay out there and she freezes to death. And we know that she was out there for a substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
Because the cause of death was hypothermia due to exposure to cold weather for a long period of time. We know it was almost 7 hours based on the coroner's report. And the fact that, she was there, and it was a patient's sister who discovered her. Her sister was delivering a baby, as she told Chelsea's mother, and she looked out the window and she saw her body lying on the roof. She took a picture after she called the authorities and said that this lady is laying there on the roof, not moving. And so then they finally went and got her body, and then for 14 hours, they alleged they tried to revive her. Paul, her brother, is very troubled by what he said he was told when he went to the hospital, because he found out that he believed they were not being honest with him.
Wow. Have you had any interaction with or have you had any resistance from getting information from the hospital? Your co-counsel, have you guys had any resistance in that process right now?
Well, at this time, we just filed our lawsuit, so we will see if they object to any of our subpoenas and so forth. I know Paul said he believes that the story that they told him was not truthful, because they initially told him that he said the doctors alleged that her body was retrieved at the Family Dollar and then brought back to the hospital, when he said his family found out the next day on social media, or found out on social media later, that her body was recovered from the second floor of the hospital roof. And so you can imagine the trauma that this family is going through. And I digress for a second, Carlos.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a sister, but it could be any family member. To imagine how she died.
Yeah.
I mean, she's out there on that cold roof by herself, and to freeze to death is a god-awful, painful death.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine her calling out for her mother, her father, her brother to help, and her cries falling on deaf ears because there was nobody around. And to die that way you don't wish that on your worst enemy, not on your worst enemy. So we're vetting this case to see if it was a matter of profit over patience. We need to know those answers because Chelsea should not have died like this.
Yeah. It's a lot of different things swirling around this. A new kind of development was the interaction between the current coroner here. What are your thoughts on Vista filing a lawsuit to remove the coroner from the case? What are your thoughts on that?
It seems to be disturbing because, the coroner and the family is thankful to her because they want the truth, and her report told them information that they did not know. And so everything from our perspective seems to line up. And so we fully expect to be able to get to the crux of the matter of why they would, attack the coroner for giving her, independent report on the matter. And so we hope that this doesn't in any way distract people from the fact that they let this poor child die on the second floor of that roof when she never should have been up there for that long. I mean, if you're looking for her, you're looking at your surveillance videos. Carlos, I ain't the smartest guy in the room, but I know if I'm looking for somebody, there's 5 floors. I'm looking at 5 floors. I'm looking at the exits and seeing if she went out of a door. I'm reviewing surveillance video. It should not have been 7 hours.
Yeah.
And so I believe that had they been looking for her, they would have got to her if they would have been reasonable. Not anything extraordinary, just reasonable. They would have discovered her and they would have saved her before she froze to death. This is not a complicated case.
Yeah. How does this case compare to other civil rights and wrongful death cases you've worked on in the past? What does it measure up to?
Well, the similarities, we often go in trying to investigate every aspect of a case, what happened that night, but then we also try to investigate if there was a pattern or practice, if there was something that was foreseeable that should have raised flags where this should have not happened. It should have been prevented, because what we do know, Carlos, is notice is 2/3 of the law. Once you're on notice about something, it's foreseeable that if you don't correct it, then bad things can happen. So we fully expect to vet some of the things about the furloughs, and if they had adequate staffing, if they had people who should have been monitoring her room, if they had people who should have kept searching for her, if they had people who should have reviewed the video surveillance, if they had people who should have called law enforcement in when they couldn't find her, when did they call law enforcement? I mean, there are so many questions that needs to be answered to get to the truth, because that's what we promised this family, that we would get to the truth. We told Paul, her brother, and her parents that we're going to fight to get to the truth so we can get accountability and get full justice for her, not partial justice, not 3/5 justice. If this was your family member, wouldn't you want full justice? Nothing but.
Absolutely. If you're watching us live, ladies and gentlemen, share this video for us. Hit the heart button for the family. Make sure you share this video with as many people to see this interview on this live. Attorney Crump, how is the family coping with obviously this is a horrible situation. I know you spoke to Brother Paul. He reached out to me too. But what is the energy like around the family right now?
Well, thank God for them trying to stay close-knit and get through this tragedy. Paul has been a pillar of strength for his family, as well as his father and mother. And Pastor Marvin Brimbury,